Hello, my name is Nell and I have things to say. I am aware that it's been 2 months since I last uploaded. Yeah, I know. I got really excited. I filmed a bunch of videos and then I released them all in one giant nugget. Instead of doing the smart thing and slow releasing them week by week so you guys had some content and I didn't just disappear off of YouTube. Today I will be remedying this by filming a few videos and then slow releasing them. And hopefully it won't be another 2 months before you see something from me. That's just the situation. I got overexcited and I've learned my lesson. Life stuff has happened and so I just have not had the presence of mind or the time or the energy to film. But today I have. The energy. Alright. Today I want to talk about identifying terms and how they are not universal. They are very personal when it comes to disability. For example, a lot of people like to refer to themselves as a person with a disability. They might also say they're a disabled person. I use both interchangeably, but a lot of people are much more comfortable with person with a disability because it puts personhood first. It puts the individual first and the disability second. I don't feel that fits for me. Not because I don't want to put my personhood first, but I don't have a specific disability. I don't have one particular thing that has caused me to be disabled. I am disabled through multiple chronic illnesses and multiple complex health issues. So for me, disabled person actually works better because I'm not a person with a disability. I'm a disabled person. That works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. And a general rule of thumb is however somebody describes themselves is how you should respectfully describe them as. If somebody says, I'm a disabled person, please don't say, well, no, you should really refer to yourself as a person with a disability. Because the truth is they have probably thought about it and they've made a conscious decision about what terminology they feel fits them best. So respect that. Even with wheelchair users. A lot of people who use wheelchairs will prefer the term wheelchair user. Once again, it is focusing more on the individual than the limitation. The other terms are wheelchair bound, confined to a wheelchair, wheelchair dependent. Now I use all of these. I'm comfortable with all of them. I particularly use wheelchair confined or wheelchair dependent when I'm in a situation where I'm really having to explain and describe my needs in detail. If I'm going into a medical setting where they might need to be moving me around or getting me to do things physically or getting me onto an examination bed, I like to say I am confined to a wheelchair or wheelchair dependent because that helps me explain the fact that without my wheelchair I don't function. I cannot walk, I can't weight bear independently, and I need my wheelchair if I'm going to transfer onto any other surface. So for me, wheelchair dependent or wheelchair confined is very, very helpful. I don't feel like it dehumanizes me or takes away from my personhood. And it actually helps me in situations where I really need to explain and describe in detail how important my wheelchair is. That it's not something that I can't park my wheelchair and then stand or walk over to an examination bed. I am confined to my wheelchair. So if I cannot do it within my wheelchair, it is going to be difficult for me to get it done. But once again, there are people who really don't like that terminology for themselves. People who will feel quite insulted if you refer to them as wheelchair dependent or wheelchair bound. And they might say, I am a wheelchair user. And if they say that, respect their terminology. Similar thing with mental health. Some people will describe themselves as a person with mental illness. Some people will describe themselves as a mentally ill person. Some people might just describe themselves as mentally ill or even psychiatrically impaired. I am, once again, comfortable with all of these terms depending on the situation, whereas some people will have definite preferences and preferences that cannot be ignored and cannot be dismissed. For me, I particularly use psychiatrically impaired when it comes to situations where my anxiety or my depression really make a difference in my functionality. If I'm describing how sometimes I struggle to answer emails, or I struggle to handle meetings, or I need somebody with me to handle a meeting or an appointment, I will say, look, because of my mental illness, I experience some psychiatric impairment where sometimes my brain just doesn't work and I need help. I become impaired and I need help. So I find that hair in my eye, that's not where hair is supposed to grow. I use that terminology sometimes. But once again, other people will be very clear on their preferences. In all of these things, take your lead and take your guidance from the individual. They have probably thought about what they like to refer to themselves as. I've had people tell me, don't say you're wheelchair bound, just say that you're a wheelchair user. And I think that I am wheelchair bound. I am confined to a wheelchair, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that terminology. It is very individual. It is not a universal thing. It isn't about there being one politically correct way of referring to people with disabilities or impairments. A lot of us look at all of the identifying terms and we figure out which one works for us. And that's for us. That is for us. And please respect that. And if you are a wheelchair user or if you are a person with a disability, if people refer to you by something that you're not comfortable with, speak up. Speak up. You have every right to speak up and say, actually, I prefer this terminology, so please don't use that when it is referring to me. Other people might like that, but I'm not comfortable with that. Because you have every right to be identified in a way that makes you feel respected and a way that makes you feel comfortable. So that's all for this video. I will be filming more, so expect to see this face again. I worked really hard on this face. I'm like, I need to make up for 2 months of absence. Like, share, and subscribe. I should probably be saying that. I do want this channel to grow. I feel weird just plugging my own channel and, you know, being like, hey guys, you know, do all those things. But I do want this channel to grow. I do want to reach out to more people and have more people hear this stuff from the mouth of a disabled person with a disability who is using a wheelchair and confined. If you liked it, like the video. I barely ever like YouTube videos, so I'm not going to fault you if you don't. Please subscribe, because then you can keep a track of when I upload. I'm trying to figure out an actual schedule, but please subscribe so that you know when I've got something new. Also, please share this video if you have somebody in your life who you think it would be relevant for. Somebody who is maybe dealing with disability personally, or has somebody in their life who is dealing with disability, and that you think might benefit from watching a little rundown of this sort of stuff. And that applies to all my videos. If you watch it and you think of somebody who might really benefit from it, please share it with them. I would really appreciate that, and they might as well. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Bless. I don't even know my sign off anymore. It's been that long. All right, bless.